All right, welcome back to a day in the life of an asset manager and also an underwriter. And today you get to talk to the underwriter side. And today we're going to talk a little bit about leadership. And we've mentioned this quite a few times before when it comes to the leadership side, because as an asset manager, you are leading multiple teams, right? You're leading the property management company, you're leading the GP team and in the stuff that's going on the property, and then you're also leading out an asset management team, which hopefully if you are, want to be an asset manager or you're currently an asset manager, you take our advice and build a team around that asset management side. So if you haven't heard before, the way that we do it is GPs or LPs, it doesn't matter, can join our asset management team. And what our whole goal of the asset management team is to remove everything from the property manager's plate other than leases. If we can take care of all the special projects and, a decent chunk of the marketing and figuring out how to move through these processes, then they can focus on the one thing that they need to be perfect at, and that's leases. We cannot go out and get leases for them. Right? Like that is 100% on them. They need to go, they need to lease it up, and they need to lease it for, whatever our rent we think that it should be, what the market fetches, all that stuff. And so in order to lead, you need to be able to be a better leader. And you have to learn how to interact with people that have different thought processes, have different backgrounds, have different life experiences, all of that fun stuff. And then you as a leader need to figure out how you want to go about doing things. And so a lot of these conversations when it comes to the leadership side is, how can I help you change your mentality, figure out how you want to lead, right? And I jokingly call, these segments like leader bits. It's just little bits of leadership and how you apply it, how you put it into action in your daily life, in your business life. It's 100% up to you, right? And so last leadership time that we talked about was SMART goals. How do we set goals? How do we make them to where it's something that is what you're going to do, right? Like a lot of us have probably set goals in our life that we set it and forget it and then never do anything about it, right? But we talked about with SMART goals, it's a lot easier to be like, I'm going to set this goal, I'm going to follow through with this goal, my say-do ratio will be high on this goal, and I will achieve it. And so since that conversation, have you guys thought anything about SMART goals, or have you set any goals for your company, yourself? Personal, professional? Oh man. All right. Well, at least I'm teaching. Well, hopefully what we can do with this is we can talk about something that you'll use, because that's the goal of these, right? Like I want it to be something that's going to be good for you guys. So I will get this up. And again, please tell me if I'm sharing the wrong screen. Nope, I'm sharing the wrong screen. Dang it. It looked like the right screen. Okay, now it's the right screen, right? Like it says prioritization and nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So when you are doing anything, right? Personal, professional, asset management, anything with a property, you get pulled in 10,000 different directions. And so a lot of what you need to do for everything in life is figure out a way to be able to prioritize what you're doing. And so I have lenses and categories, okay? And so a lens is kind of what you look through in order to view that item, right? And so when we're talking about a business side of things, or even in your personal life, there's usually urgent and important. And if they don't fit either urgent or important, you probably shouldn't do it. Like that's just kind of where it sits with that, especially on the business side, right? And so when you're looking at stuff, you need to ask yourself, is it urgent or is it important? What category am I putting these in? And then we have different categories. Like what am I going to do with this now? Do I need to do it now? Do I schedule it? Do I delegate it? Or do I just delete it? Like, is it not worth my time? And so the way that we're going to look at stuff is how do we categorize these into those categories through these lenses, and how do we move forward from there? And so I'm curious if any of you guys have ever seen this matrix before. The urgent, important matrix. Oh, not that yet. Don't do that yet. Okay, which is totally fine, right? Like, just a question if anybody had ever seen them. So I love this because I use this all the time in my daily life and in business, right? So if something is urgent and important, you do it now. Like, you can't wait. It's something that has to be done immediately. You make it a priority in your life to go out and do that, right? If something is important, but it's less urgent, and there's lots of stuff in our life that are very, very important, but less urgent, right? Like scheduling a doctor's appointment for just a normal checkup. It's important, but it's not like urgent, right? Like you're just going in for a regular screening, you schedule it. There's lots of stuff that fall into that category. There's stuff that's urgent, but less important, right? And that is something that you should be able to delegate because it's something that is that needs to get done, but it's not something that is going to make or break your business. And so you can delegate that out to somebody else and be able to have them be responsible for it. And then if it's less urgent, less important, that you challenge yourself, why am I even trying to do this? What does this have to do with my business? What is this even, how is this going to improve my quality of life? And so when we're looking at this matrix, I drew up a couple examples that I kind of want to run through to see where you guys think they fit into this matrix, right? And all of these are going to be multifamily experiences. So we're going to look at it through the scope of multifamily. So the first one is expense review and vendor contract for rebidding for landscape. So you need to go get a bid for landscaping. Where do you think that falls in this?
Urgent and important.
Urgent and important in you think in this sector here?
Yeah, you said reviewing contracts and bills and things,
Uh,
or you're just specifically talking about getting a landscaping bid.
a rebid for your landscape.
Yeah, I think it's urgent and important to cut expenses, potentially cut expenses.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts?
I think urgent and less important.
Okay. So you would put it in the urgent, less important, get that delegated out to somebody. Okay. I'm always curious because there's like sometimes there's a right answer, right? Like some of these would be very, very clear. And some of them it's like you as a person, where do you put this? So like for me, I put this in actually less urgent, but still important, right? Like it's important for us to go out and get bids and make sure that we are doing our fiducial responsibility for our investors. But it's less urgent because I don't need to do it right now, today, this instant. What I can do is I can get it on my schedule and say, hey, Friday, I'm going to call 3 vendors and go get bids and figure it out. And so that's where I put that one for me. But I'm always curious kind of where people put it and why, right? So let's look at another one. Attending a generic webinar unrelated to current property goals.
Delete. I would put it in number 4.
You got the less important, less urgent. So I agree. Right? Like it's not moving your business forward. It doesn't help with your current situation, and it's a generic webinar about basically nothing. Right? Like I said, some of these are very very uh, pointed, where it's like, okay, I definitely know that that's the wrong thing to do. But I think sometimes we do get into those situations where it's like, hey, I'm gonna go do this thing. I'm gonna go to this meeting, or even an event, right? Like I've gone to a real estate event where I'm like, I can get something good out of this. But it wasn't multifamily. It wasn't for investors. It was single family homes that was fix and flips. And I left that going, man, I wasted my time. I wasted my money. I wasted my resources on nothing. I learned nothing for my business because it's too different to even kind of translate into this. So we do that, right? And I should have hit the delete button on that email asking me if I wanted to attend. Okay, another one. Let's do occupancy drops suddenly due to a competitor's aggressive specials. Karen, you're muted I think you said
Yeah, I would say urgent, important.
urgent and important. Yeah, absolutely, right? Like now this is a threat to not only us as GPs, it's a threat to our investors. We need to make sure that we are doing something to combat that, right? And it could be having the same aggressive special. It could be finding a different demographic that you're targeting to put into those. It could be a bump in your advertising so that you're in front of more people than before. And so there's lots of different answers to that, right? Oh, I just saw the chat. Sorry. I should probably have the chat over here so I can see it. So there's a lot of different answers to how we would combat that, but it would be right away. We need an answer. It's not something that we can push off. It's not something that we can ask somebody else to do. We need to go out and find a fix immediately. So, perfect. I love it. All right. Let's do another one. Building out a renewal strategy and rent growth plan for next quarter.
I would say number 2, important but less urgent because it's happening in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's like very, very important that you go and do those processes right, but how urgent is it? And how many times do we get stuck in the mentality of like, oh, I need to get this done because this, the quarter's coming up, but it's like, hey, you still have several weeks to do this. Make sure that you put the things in the right bucket, right? Prioritize what you need to first. Perfect. We'll do one more here. See what you guys think. This one you guys will get, but I still like it. Okay. Active major leak impacting multiple units.
That would be important and urgent.
Absolutely. Right. Now we're talking about long-term damage to the properties if we don't answer that very, very quickly. So, anybody have any questions about urgent versus important matrix? Is this something that you guys have ever seen before? Is it anything that you've ever thought about before? Is this helpful? What do you
Very
guys-
helpful.
Okay,
Like it a lot.
good. I'm also open to feedback that like, hey, this was a waste of my time.
I
Okay,
think it was a really good exercise to do with us. Thank you.
yeah, of course. All right, the last part that I wanted to talk about for the leadership section is a totally downshifting gears. It's about the way to approach things for problem solving. And I know it's kind of in the same vein, but a little bit different. So what we're going to talk about is my favorite way to problem solve, right? And so the way that I look at pretty much any problem is I look at it as an obstacle. I'm not able to get this done because of X, Y, and Z. I hate it when people come through and they just say like, hey, you need to get it done, right? I am an obstacle remover. And I'll tell people that all day long, right? Like my goal as a leader is to remove as many obstacles that stand in your way so that you can't say, I can't get it done because of this. So a prime example for this, when I was in retail, I had a team of 63 people, and they were all remote agents out in the field. And they had a card reader to be able to check people out, to process payment for stuff that wasn't collected previously, right? Or if someone needed something, they would usually have the product with them to be able to sell the person to get them what they need. And I was getting negative reviews from my team because they're like, oh, this person came out to my house and they didn't set it up, or they didn't do this because they didn't have these items, and now I have to go back to the store and buy this. And I'm like, man, we should never get a negative review for that. Like, we have that product. You should be able to take care of them. So talk to the guys that were getting the reviews. I'm like, hey, you had a couple negative reviews. What's going on? And they're like, I don't have a card reader, so I can't ring people out. And I'm like, oh, fixed. Here's a card reader. Let's go. So then, still getting negative reviews. So then I talked to him again. Hey, why are you getting negative reviews? You said you didn't have a card reader. You have a card reader. Well, I don't have enough product on my vehicle. Like, I can't go out and do that because the store won't let me have blah blah blah. Cool. I'll go talk to the store today. Urgent and important. I'll go talk to them today, and you can have anything you want in the store. I will make that happen. Cool. I talked to the store. They said, yeah, anything that person wants, done, gone. So then I went through the store with them and I said, hey, let's grab product and get your vehicle stocked up. So I went out and grabbed all the product with them, checked it out, put it on their vehicle, said, this is all yours. You take care of clients. You do everything that you need to with it. Okay. Remove that obstacle again. Still got negative reviews. I'm like, hey, dude, what's going on? Like, you got another negative review. It said that, you didn't have any product to be able to complete what you're trying to do. And he's like, well, I just don't feel comfortable like charging people for that. And I'm like, okay, so it's a mentality issue and not an obstacle. So then we had to talk about changing our mentality about how we're going to do that, how it's a benefit, because they're obviously mad that you didn't do it. They would rather just buy the product from you than have to go back to the store and have you come back out. And so you have to change your mentality on that. And so we had a conversation about that. So the reason that I tell you all of that backstory is because it's about removing those obstacles. And what we are going to face, it doesn't matter if you're underwriting or if you're an asset manager or even just part of the GP team, you will have obstacles that people will tell you, I cannot get X, Y, or Z accomplished. And you need to figure out why they can't get it accomplished and try and remove that obstacle. So from an underwriting perspective, because that's what I deal with the most, right? I have a lot of people that bring me underwriting. They say, hey, spent a long time on this, super proud of it. Let's look at it. Cool, break it down, all that fun stuff. The biggest thing I ask people, hey, did you get a loan quote? Did you get an insurance quote? Did you check taxes? Things like that. And most of the feedback is, I don't have a guy for X, Y, or Z, right? I don't have a guy for insurance. Cool, I have a guy. Let me give him to you. Here's the number. Go talk to them. Build that relationship for yourself and move forward. I don't have an insurance guy. Cool, here's this. I don't know how to do the taxes. Let me walk you through how to do the taxes. I want to remove all of those obstacles because I need to have you be able to be confident in yourself when you're going out and doing these things and when you're underwriting. And it's the same for asset management, right? We need to figure out how to remove obstacles from our property managers. Hey, why are we not leasing? What's going on? And then we need to figure out what the obstacle is. Is the obstacle that our price is unrealistic? Is the obstacle that they are focused on too many different things and not leasing? Let's remove those obstacles. Let's figure out a way to make it work. right? So the more that you create friction and push in a certain area, the less likely people are going to be to succeed. But if you remove those obstacles and say, hey, the path is clear, go do it, people are more willing to take that path because you are showing them that you're able to do it, that it's capable of happening. So any questions about removing obstacles and not just like charging forward? Has anybody ever thought about this mentality before?
I have about 30 some years management experience, and I supervised everything from juvenile delinquents to adults with different perspectives on things. And so, yeah, just learning to ask questions and approach each person as an individual, because they do have their own unique perspective, and we don't necessarily know all the details of the situation. So it's always better to ask questions than help them find the solutions.
Yeah. No, 100%. So it's another like leader bit that I have. That's like, and I'll share this briefly with you. We might talk about it more in depth a little bit later, but it's always seeking to understand 100% before you make any decision at all. And I will tell you the story that changed my opinion about that, and it has to do with my dog. So I had a dog. His name was Drist. So any D&D fans out there, you'll know who Drist is, but it might be the wrong crowd. But I love this dog. Like, he was with me through thick and thin, man. He was my best friend. He was the only friend I had when I moved to Denver. He was the only friend I had when I moved to Tucson. I love that dog, right? But long story short, I was living alone in this apartment, and I was trying to get my priorities back in order, right? Like, not to go too deep in the weeds, but like I wasn't very religious. I wasn't involved in church and stuff like that. And I decided that I wanted to try again. And so I left. I usually was working like 12 hours a day. So I'd come home, I'd play video games, I'd go to sleep. And that was pretty much my whole life. So I was like, okay, I came home from work. I was super exhausted, took the dog out to go to the bathroom. And I was like, I got to go to this church thing. And like, it's just another thing. And so left, went to the church thing, came back. And I walked in and my dog had peed and pooped right in the middle of the living room. And I'm like, I took him out to go to the bathroom right before then. This is so frustrating. And like, this is what I get for trying to be good, right? Like, it's so bad. And so like normally I did what, I was taught to do with any dog. You grab their nose, you shove it in their, stuff, and you're like, hey, you're a bad dog. You did this. And so I swat him on the nose, nothing hard, like, right, just letting him know that he did something wrong. And as he walked away, he brushed against my leg. And I realized that he was covered in urine on his side. And he had had a seizure and had emptied himself beyond his control. And it was probably a very scary thing for him that he had to go through, and now I just punished him for that. And I was like, man, I am never going to jump to a conclusion again. I need the facts. I need to know what happened before I make a decision like that. Because, dude, there is nothing that will make you feel smaller in this world than doing something like that. And I don't have kids, right? But I'm sure if I had a kid and that happened, like, I would feel this big at best. Because I felt that big with my dog. And so always seeking to understand first is one of the best things that you can do in any single decision-making thing in your life, right? And it'll help you in your relationships. It'll help you in your partnerships, everything. Instead of deciding that this person is doing something malicious or, against you for whatever reason, like, go in with the mentality of seeking to understand. Help me understand why you would choose this path, this decision, this thing. And you'll be surprised at how much comes from that. and the outcomes will be significantly better. So, yeah, with that being said, we are at time. So yeah, now you guys got to hear my sob story. So thank you guys for joining Day in the Life. We will be live next Monday at 4 o'clock Pacific time. We'd love to have all of you guys there, plus anybody else that wants to join. So if you know somebody that's interested, please let them know. We have a pretty consistent group of people that show up, but we'd always love to expand. So thank you guys so much and have a great day.